Xbox Game Pass offers a sheer cornucopia of delicious and delightful gaming experiences to check out each and every month. If you happen to be someone who loves diving into the rough and tumble punishing world of Soulslike, well, you're in luck. There are quite a few unique Soulslike games to check out right now on Xbox Game Pass, should you be up for the challenge. It's worth keeping in mind that new games come in and out of the service each month, so a Souls-like game mentioned here might not always be available. So get to playing these games straight away. Welcome to Game Rant, everyone. My name is Geoffrey. Today, let's take a look at 8 of the very best Souls-like games on Xbox Game Pass. Alright, first up we have Lies of P. Starfield was not the only big September 2023 game to launch directly on Xbox Game Pass. Lies of P is a fantastic action RPG that takes obvious inspiration from, arguably, From Software's best game, Bloodborne. Creatively inspired by the world of Pinocchio, the game follows the iconic puppet as he makes his way through Krat, a city overrun with horrendous monstrosities and puppets that range from humanoid guards to massive entities. Offering more fast-paced action than the traditional Souls-like, Lies of P incorporates most of the genre's basic ingredients, but they are combined in a way that allows the game to stand out positively. While dodging is certainly an option, the combat prioritizes guarding and deflections, the latter of which must be mastered in order to make the more challenging bosses even more manageable, which is not always easy. Even though it was not created by a well-known developer, Lies of P is polished, ambitious, and impressive, and it will likely go down as one of the best Souls-like games of all time. It's currently my gaming obsession, and it's pulling all the right strings. Alright, next up we have Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Team Ninja has spent the last half of a decade cementing its place in the Souls-like world through the Neo games. While those releases are not on Xbox Game Pass, the developer's most recent project debuted directly on Microsoft's subscription service. Wolong Fallen Dynasty utilizes many of the same ideas introduced in Team Ninja's previous outings, including a loot system that drowns players in tons of weapons and armors. Similar to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Wolong prioritizes deflecting attacks over guarding or dodging. Just to be clear, the latter two are still important tools in the player's arsenal, but everyone will still need somewhat to master the parrying techniques if they want to last longer in the campaign. Set during China's Three Kingdoms era, Wolong blends reality with fiction by incorporating historical figures alongside supernatural monsters. Like any good Souls-like, Team Ninja's game is absolutely stuffed with challenging boss fights, and players can expect to face usually a few of these sorts of enemies in most stages. Rather than a continuous world, Wolong is divided into parts, with each one dropping players in a new Metroidvania-style area. Besides the main missions, there are side missions that can have unique bosses and drops. Next up is Dead Cells. Now, Dead Cells is a roguevania in design, but its steep difficulty at times and its punishing bosses are enough to have Souls fans coming back for more. Players will take control of a mysterious being that's seemingly immortal, reappearing from a slush of who knows what each time it's slain in battle. The 2D side-scrolling adventure features beautiful visuals, visceral yet challenging combat, and a massive blueprint system in which players can unlock weapons, outfits, and accessories to infuse into future runs. With multiple branching paths and a deep playstyle customization system, Dead Cells is a must-play indie hit and will surely suck hours of your gaming free time. Alright, our next choice is Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition. Though appearances may not indicate it at first blush, Hollow Knight features a whole host of Souls-like elements that are sure to please fans of this genre. This 2D Metroidvania romp ticks most of the essential boxes: punishing death mechanics that put progression at risk, the signature checkpoint system, and exhilaratingly challenging boss encounters that are all sure to delight and punish you in equal measures. That said, Hollow Knight certainly carved out its own identity. The insectoid character designs and the setting are as compelling as they are charming, and it's difficult not to fall in love with the surprising depth of the lore as players guide the knight through the ruins of Hollownest. The next game we have is Death's Door. Death's Door is incredibly charming, thanks to its beautifully designed worlds and characters. Players will hop in as a small yet expressive crow and set forth on an adventure to collect souls from some pretty imposing bosses. Along the way, they'll uncover new items, abilities, and plenty of weapons. The aesthetic feels like a quote-unquote happier Dark Souls, I guess, with the crow making its way through some pretty interesting areas, including a castle-like manor. Death's Door is a fantastic adventure for players who are looking for something mysterious and story-driven. Now, combat-wise, the game is fast-paced and offers a decent amount of variety, even if it is not exactly a loot-driven experience. While sharing similarities with Soulslike, Death's Door also takes inspiration from The Legend of Zelda's isometric entries, certainly in its level layout, exploration, and the tough puzzles. Alright, the next game we have is For Honor. Who among us hasn't pondered who would win in a fight between a Viking and a samurai? Well, these questions are destined to frustrate humanity until the end of time, but For Honor at least attempts to provide an answer, and this game has been going on for a long time now. This multiplayer-focused title splits players into different factions based on popular warrior archetypes, as they seek to determine who reigns supreme on the battlefield. Although sharing precious little in common with the Souls game, For Honor's challenging melee combat should feel right at home for players fond of From Software's titles. The gameplay revolves around reacting to the opponent's actions by correctly positioning the user's weapon. The next game is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Certain level design choices and game-saving mechanics in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order can remind someone of a Dark Souls game. The parrying and dodging seen in most Souls-like combat encounters are conceptually copied with Cal Kestis and his lightsaber. However, the game is more easily accessible than a typical Dark Souls experience, proving to be less of a challenge for a true Bonfire Forged Souls fan. That said, Fallen Order is a more balanced Souls-like experience that all sorts of players can dive into and enjoy. It makes for the perfect stepping stone into the genre, inviting newcomers to try the water before attempting to tread through deeper fare. As such, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order fulfills a valuable role in introducing beginners to Souls-like with an amiable helping hand. And our last game for the list is Tunic. Tunic is a lot of things, and describing it solely as Souls-like would be a disservice to the game's overall creativity and ambition. Along with taking obvious cues and inspiration from Zelda, particularly with its puzzles, this indie darling's combat system undeniably favors games like Dark Souls. The game contains most of the core fundamentals that are synonymous with these types of releases, namely dodge rolls, shield guarding, and telegraphed enemy moves, to just name a few. There are even items that work to replenish health similar to Estus flasks. However, Tunic is more than just a top-down take on the Souls formula. It is a charming puzzle platformer that wouldn't have looked out of place on Nintendo's resume, again harkening to its Zelda-like inspirations. It offers a challenging adventure with complex bosses that often require more than just quick reflexes. It managed to be accessible and mainstream while hiding depth that will surprise even the most veteran of players. Tunic is not just one of the best Souls-like on Xbox Game Pass, but it is simply one of the best games on the subscription service, period. And there we have it, everyone, 8 of the very best Souls-like games that you can check out right now on Xbox Game Pass. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video from Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.